Hey everybody, welcome to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com. Then click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, save the planet, cooperate. Good idea, since this is the only place we really live. I'm also published throughout the internet, as well as at brian396.com, byebyebluesky.com, gagcanada.com, as well as on my own website and on the YouTube. So feel free to look at Independence or HerbsPlusBeadWorks on the YouTube and maybe learn something from the videos. Today I was kind of all wrapped up and busy as it can be, and I put 3 links in the chat room right away. The one link is a interview I did with a woman. Yeah, we did a very candid interview. I mean, it was straight from the hip, no holds barred interview. It was really good. We talked about a variety of different things. We used biblical references, biblical examples about some of the things going on today's time. That has maybe possibly gone on then, or it appears to look like it was going on then anyway. That's what it appears to look like. But anyway, we had a very good interview. The interviewer was Samu Love True. She contacted me. She's been putting up my stuff on the YouTube for a while, and she got a hold of me and she wanted to do an interview. So I said, sure, let's go. So we got to talking about all kinds of ideas, all kinds of things, from being awake, identifying and breaking the program, why people wake up, some of the things that we all go through, some of the things that we all, the fire and brimstone that we go through in life, to get us to a point where we do finally wake up and start looking at things from the perspective of truth and how things really are. It went on, I guess, for 3 hours. It's a 3-hour interview. I started listening to it today earlier, and just going over it. And we had we had fun doing it. I think you'll enjoy the program. I think for a lot of you, you'll be able to relate. For those of you who are the church-going type, some language is very salt of the earth, and I do speak in some Canadian tongues at points, but it's not to a point where you can't handle it. If you are offended by strong language, then don't listen to it. But if you're not, and if you can handle some of the salt of the earth mannerisms that we put out there, by all means, go listen to it. I think the amount of information there, especially for those of you who are targeted individuals and those of you who are dealing with right now being targeted or dealing with nano infections, are going to, I think you'll gain a lot out of it. You might get some answers for some of you. Some of you might get encouraged. Some of you might get, some of you might get even, inspired. I hope so. Anyway, when I do these interviews, the whole idea is that not only to educate, but to inspire other people to, okay, you know what, this guy has been through a ringer. This guy's been through a ringer. He's seen some stuff, and he's still here. He's still in the fight. He's still in the game. He's still trying to make a change. Okay, and we all can do that. We can all do that. We can all make the changes. And just because you go through something in life doesn't mean you quit because you got beat up. All of us, and I mean all of us, in this life have gotten beaten up some way, somewhere, somehow. That's just the reality. That's the program. That's what we've all been assaulted in some form or fashion. We've all been misled some form or fashion. All of us. So we've all been deceived. We've all been conned. We've got so much separation going on almost every front. People who are like-minded are banding together, and they're coming from all walks of life, and they're coming from different, men and women are getting together. They're coming back. I made reference in regard to what I call a woman. I call a woman somebody who has a brain in their head, and if they don't consider, because they have an opening between their legs, making them think that they're some kind of goddess because they have this particular part of their anatomy. If that's all you've got nothing. End of story. If that's all you got, if that's the best you can bring to the table, you're less than nothing. But the women who are getting involved wake up and they're active, making changes, learning, developing. Even the girly girl types, these are the ones I call women, because they are making strides to not only in their awakening, but to find answers. Okay, and they are working with men. There's no demeaning of men here. There's no demeaning of women here. So everybody's looking at the perspective of what's going on, saying, you know what, we don't have time to get caught up in the mainstream thinking. Mainstream thinking, if you sit there and look how chaotic it really is. There is no ebb and flow. There is nothing to it other than, there's always this antagonism going on. There always has to be some kind of antagonistic something to create this the deactivation or the overactivation of people. It never ceases to amaze me. We talked about everything. So when you get a chance, look at it. The second one we looked at, I put up there. Okay, it's the mega file. Now, this is the link. This is the information carbon C60. So if anybody is interested in understanding what this really is, this is basically a preliminary. We started this again. Smo True Love put this up. I started this document just to show you what this does, how it destroys the genetic code, how even California wants to regulate carbon C60. I went back on the sites of these guys that were propagating this nonsense. And what I found was all the people that had been speaking negative or speaking antagonistically towards C60, they removed all the comments. So all you saw was the rah-rah on the site. If you go on the site, even if you go on my YouTube, you'll find that I leave everything wide open. I don't move anything. Whether there's controversy or not, it stays there. I'm a firm believer of freedom of expression and freedom of speech. But when you see something like that going on, and you got to ask the question, what are they really hiding? And why is the state of California now wanting to regulate carbon C60? So anyway, this is a good link for you. That's a good link for you in regard to getting some information on it. Hold on a second. So so again, when you guys get a chance, check out this information, download it, share it with people. You don't have to explain anything to them. Just say, look, this causes genetic damage. You might want to read this, And again, because the NASA marketing game might really have these people brainwashed. And again, when they start falling down, wondering what's going on, again, they won't be able to even make the connection that they ate something that had a nano effect on them and breaking them down. So anyway, check it out. And another one we showed, another link. This link here, hundreds of dead chickens found on Simcoe Road. This is in Canada. This is in Canada. They found these chickens all over the road dead, not knowing why. And then when Susan Marr, Bye Bye Blue Sky, contacted them, asked them what was going on, if there was any tests done to see what might have killed these birds. Nothing was done. No testing. No testing was done whatsoever. They don't even know why these birds are dead. There were hundreds of them all over the road. So when you look at this, in regard to, you know, this is the kind of anomalous things that are going on. We don't know if it was a frequency that may have taken them out. We don't know if they got infected with something. Maybe they were dropped off as an experiment to spread disease, some sort of biowarfare, bioterror. We don't know. And then what did they do? They scooped them up and dumped them into a landfill. And this is old Canada, you know, in Canada. So again, when we're looking at this here, you know, things like this, these should make one go, You know, make one go, what's going on? Why? You know, why? What was that about? There was no cages on the ground, nothing broken. You know, unless the cages were left wide open for these birds to fall out. Who knows? It may have been just something like that, but there was nobody, nothing, no testing, nothing. You know, so, you know, so, 1 second. So again, when we're looking at some of this stuff, again, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Don't just look at these things as some sort of anomalous things that have just happened. You know what I mean? Something that's going on. When you see stuff like this, you better scratch your head. Better scratch your head, you know, because you are, you know, you're in. These things should make you question, why did the government not test these animals? Why? I mean, why were they dead in the first place? Why were they left on the road? You know, how did they get there? Who put them there? And what did they actually die of? Was it terahertz frequencies? Was microwave frequency done on them? Was there some kind of did they consume something that killed them? Were they infected with something? You know, especially in Canada, when we're talking rural communities like Simcoe, it wouldn't take much to spread an epidemic from these small towns or communities. Gets into the water table, boom, the whole community gets infected. You don't know what happened. We don't know what's going on. So we should be looking at this, and the government should have been more professional with this. Why do you see 100 birds, 100 chickens dead on the road? This is not something you see every day. Oh, I drove down the highway today. I saw 100 pigeons dead on the road. Oh, I was driving down the highway today. I saw 100 ducks dead on the road. Oh, you know, even then they would be checking to see if why they got hit. Why is there 100 on the road? I would be thinking, why? Isn't that a little odd? You know, 100 chickens dead on the road. Makes one go, what's going on? What was just released? Were they experimented on? Were these birds a victim of circumstances? Why were they left there of all places? You know, stuff like that should make you think like that. I think the other day we were talking about the carbon C60, and I don't want to just belabor that issue either. I think that's one of those issues that the only way most of the people are going to know about is once they use it and get affected by it, then they're going to see something has happened. We've been talking the last couple of days, a bunch of us, on artificial intelligence, and I think that this is part of the thing that we all need to be also focusing on in regard to where we're heading. What's life? You know, where is this all heading? You know, artificial intelligence. How is that going to impact us on a health level? How many of us are even going to be around? You know, how many of us are even going to be around? See, when you sit there and think about some of these things, you know, all this, you know, when you're looking at the artificial intelligence and you're looking at the deep, which is a program process for thinking, artificial intelligence thinking, or the abyss. Again, another concept of the same thing. Where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Where does that leave mankind? Where does that leave your children, your grandchildren, if there are going to be any around? Where does that leave everybody? And who's going to be running the planet? Who's actually going to be in charge? Who's in charge now? Does anybody really know? We talked about that in the interview. We talked about how artificial intelligence is already controlling everything now because of the way it integrates and interfaces with just about every part of our lives, whether it be financial, military, everyday usage of running water, electricity, food processing, everything. Its analysis on how to deal with things is all based on some sort of algorithm, and it can upgrade itself. So, all of a sudden, a town or village can wind up disappearing. And then, like we stated, how if it's solving problems, how is it doing this? By incorporating into itself everything that it has assimilated into its program routine, and it can alter the program to fit its algorithm. So, if you ever watched the movie Transcendence, if any of you watched that, that will give you an exact idea about AI. That program, that video or movie will speak volumes about artificial intelligence. You have no idea till you see that movie. That's Hollywood telling you exactly what is coming. How a program can take over everything, how it can manipulate matter into whatever constructs it wants, especially if we're dealing on a nano scale. With the right frequencies, you can create almost anything with nanobiology or nanotechnology. That's the danger in the nano. Also, the materials that they're using in making whatever constructs they're making is also the lethality aspect of it, and it doesn't mix with biology. Mankind's biology and nanotechnology do not mix. It's like oil and water. No matter how much you shake it, they'll always separate. Same with this stuff. So when you're looking at this, if you get a chance to look at the movie, you will find and you will see in that whole theme there what AI is really all about, and it gets super interesting when you actually see the how involved the AI is in our lives, and how easy it can access whatever wealth it needs. It can shift the wealth very easily, and again, nobody would know it. Nobody would know it. It could hide. It could hide where it could hide that it's even taking the wealth out. Watch Colony. Okay, what's Colony there, Gia? But Transcendence is one you may want to watch. I'm not promoting Hollywood here. I'm trying to promote a visual for you, so you can actually see this vid. CAI. And everything about that movie that they were expressing about somebody dying and downloading their memory or their brain into a computer, that is true as well. They've been able to do that for about 15 years. They can take your brain, all your memories and your mental capacity, and download that into a computer, into a mainframe. And then they can re-upload it into another brain or another computer. And the way they're cloning things today, and the way they're attaching artificial intelligence with things today, so that they have a more coalescence or cohesion, so they don't break down. The reality of cloned materials with nano technology is real. It's very real, and you can look it up. And you got to remember too, but what we're looking up today, do not use Google. I keep telling you, but don't use the Google. Google is goofy. Google will give you only so much, and a lot of information that they're going to give you is not going to be that current. But use actual military sites, industrial sites, medical sites, lab sites that work with this stuff. That's where you're going to get what you need to get, and that's where you're going to understand. That's when you get the eyelash raising and eye opener, for sure. That aspect of being assimilated, being integrated, being overwritten, doesn't really have much appeal to me. Shouldn't have any appeal to you either. It was interesting, like I said, that whole interview we did. I mean, it was an extensive interview. I can't remember all of it. I have to go back and watch it, but we did have fun on it. I was, we were bantering a little bit, making comments and innuendo. And like I said, it was a good interview. I'm, trying to propagate this very well. Anything you can find today on nanobiology, it'll be to your advantage if you do the research and start stockpiling the research, Okay, Mikio Kaku was interviewed recently just talking about this. Forget the news site it was on. Fiona, are you talking about the chickens dying in Simcoe or the AI? What are you referring to? Yeah, so like I said, it's an imperative that we start paying attention to these things. We have to get past the news today. The news today basically is entertainment to put you asleep. Oh, we had a crime today of 99 people dying, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the crime and the theft, the job market's down, people are out of jobs, And you notice something? I was reading something else today. Oh, this is the other thing I forgot. Canada has decided, I gotta see if I can find the thing now, hold on, about the water in Canada. A lot of people think that the water in Canada is safe. Okay, let me see if I can find this. I'll find the article where I put it. Maybe it is in here, hold on. Give me 1 second, I gotta find this real quick. Is that it? Nope, not that one. Anyway, it talks about the water and how water has become completely deregulated in Canada, and that the act that the water was being protected on, it was no longer protecting the waterways here in this country. The only thing that's still left and protected are the three sides of the oceans that we're bordering. I gotta find this again. Give me a second. I will find this. Sounds like something out of a Superman movie. I will find this. Let me see here. Maybe this is it. Yeah, here we go. This is the other one. I knew there was something else I want to bring out today. Give me a second. Now remember, this is in Canada. Okay, oh, Canada. Okay. Let me read this. There are now only 100 lakes, 62 rivers, and 3 oceans legally protected in Canada under the Navigation Protection Act. The NPA, which came into force on April 1st, 2014, removed protections for the majority of waterways when it comes to pipeline and power line projects. The NPA affords no protection to any lake, river, or waterway. This is in Canada. Not the United States. Oh, Canada. Okay, Canada. Says the NPA replaced one of Canada's oldest pieces of legislation, the Navigable Waters Protection Act, which was originally put in place to safeguard the navigation of waterways in 2009. The Harper government began its initial clawback of the NWPA in 2009 on Bill C-10. The budget bill, where early amendments to the NWPA appeared the Standing Senate Committee on Energy and Environment and Natural Resources declared. The Act protects the public right of navigation by regulating works or other waterways such as bridges, dams, and docks in order to minimize the overall impact on navigation. So, can you imagine that? And Canada has a lot of lakes, has a lot of fresh water. Again, you kind of wonder sometimes, who does this? Who does this? Who comes up with this nonsense? Who comes up with this, idea? Let me read here about Quebec. Quebec is our neighbor here in Ontario. Quebec are unprotected, including Lac Mistissani Reservoir, Guan, and Lac Eau Claire. While several of the large lakes in Ontario are protected, only one of the lakes in Saskatchewan and 3 lakes in Manitoba, larger than 400 square kilometers, are protected. None of the lakes larger than 400 square kilometers, 400 square kilometers is about 250 miles square, are protected in Alberta. And, and Alberta has a water problem. Glacial-fed Atlan Lake on the traditional lands of the Taku River, Tlingitlis, is one of the largest in British Columbia and the source of the Yukon River. It is not protected. Of the Yukon and Northwest Territories large lakes, only Great Bear Lake is listed under the Act, scheduled for protection. See, that makes me go, makes me go, Coming to a country near you. If it happens in Canada, it will happen in your country as well. The saying. So when we're talking in regard to some of the stuff that we're seeing today, in regard to our environment will make or break us on the health level. This is why I'm saying that it's going to be important that we start looking at greenhouse technologies that you can now, here we go, another one. Would you turn your loved one into a robot clone? Swedish scientists are using AI to build androids that are fully conscious copies of dead relatives, report claims. This goes right back to transcendence. Same thing. Hold a second. When we're looking at this type of tech, the question then comes to stand eventually, how long do you want to be here? How long do you really want to be here? And is that really you they're downloading? Or is that the memories only? The memories only. So when we're looking at some of the stuff that, that's happening today, what is it going to mean to be healthy in the future? Is that even going to be possible? Or are we going to be happening back next in the future is if something goes wrong, we'll just replace the old worn out DNA and put some new DNA into you. Or you got a worn out, body part. We'll just nano replicate, with the proteins and the skin, so you won't know the difference. Is this where we're heading? Are we heading to becoming fully automated and integrated with artificial intelligence? Something to think about. All right, come on back. We'll talk more. See you in a bit. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. In today's times, literature like from Future Shock by Alvin Toffler and some other resources, doing a little research with artificial intelligence with YouTube and other sites. Always remember one thing when you're doing any of these researches that you're doing on your own. Everything is always going to be propagated some kind of positive something or another. You know, it's going to help with the body. It's going to help with healing. It's going to help with treating this. It's going to help cure cancer. It's going to help whatever help is going to do. And when you're looking at this research, have an objectivity in your mind, you know, about you being downloaded as a program, trapped into a container. Somebody might say, well, that's the way we are now. We're trapped in a body of flesh. But this body of flesh one day ends, it's terminated. And as of yet, nobody has yet to come in and put into my head a complete takeover program in me. Now, mind you, they are using everything today in their capacity, whether it be religion, spirituality, New Age, whatever it is, to again keep you tethered. Tony, drinking some colloidal copper is the same as copper chloride. Well, they're both copper, and they both penetrate the cell, but then they have a different chemical reaction. But they both are good to use. Both are very good to use. I've been using the copper chloride with zinc chloride. I have been looking at chlorides specifically to help with repairing some of the damage that the biology or the nano-biotech systems have been implemented in me. I got another buddy of mine who's actually using the MMS, which is a type of chloride as well, which is another salt, which is a lot far more concentrated and a lot stronger. And he's experimenting and experimenting and exploring different ways of using it. He's seeing some great results with it. He has purged himself from some long-standing infections. I am using it again to help repair some of the damage and to expedite the breaking down of the biofilm. I'm seeing a lot of good benefits as well. The salt, chlorides are salts. You know, they're a type of salts. And this is one thing we're all going to need to be utilizing more and more. I found some new research on sodium thiosulfate and some of the other things that they're using it for today, and uses and a different methodology, but basically boils down to about a teaspoon or 5 mils or 5 grams of sodium thiosulfate, and they combine it with baking soda, Epsom salt, and vitamin C. That combination is a beauty, really. It's such a powerful combination. Epsom salt, vitamin C, sodium thiosulfate, baking soda, Epsom salt, vitamin C. Yeah. That combination will pretty well purge out just about anything in the system. If you got radioactive materials coming out, heavy metal materials coming out, nanoparticulate material is coming out. Producing L-glutathione levels, definitely going to be doing that. So even the way we're doing things today and what we're doing, we're going to have to shift into a different paradigm, because the old stuff that we're using in yesteryear isn't going to have the impact it once did, because it's either contaminated with nano or genetically engineered crap or something else, or it's not getting enough sunlight to produce the chemistry that's required for it to produce the healing agent in it. It's being shut down and neutralized. So again, our paradigm, how we're going to heal ourselves, what we're going to do, how we're going to apply it, what are we going to be using to deal with whatever's coming down the pipe, and even going to a doctor in the future, and even now already, is going to be a waste of time. With the artificial intelligence, they're probably going to have a medical android or medical construct. I'll call it a construct, that's for lack of a better term. But they're going to have a medical construct that's going to do with the diagnostic on you, and because you're going to be already interfaced at some level with the artificial intelligence and you, it'll be able to take a direct reading and give you whatever diagnostic it's going to give you. It may terminate you. You'll be driving down the road and the car takes over your car and all of a sudden smashes you at a high velocity into a wall. You know, because in its mind it's thinking, well, you're 40 years old and you know you're not going to give us much more life, so better terminate it now and move on. Tony Major, zinc citrate, is it common for this zinc to settle to the bottom of the jar after a few days, or did I do something? No, you didn't do anything wrong. You may have oversaturated the solution. That's okay too. You'll get that sometime. You're always going to get some left over, always, unless you heat up the solution or heat up the water, where it'll be able to embed the particles or the material into the water more because the molecules are more expanded. But if you put it together and you're getting a little bit left over, then that's depending on how much. If you're getting only a faint amount, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it at all. This is the other thing we were talking about earlier today, how so many people are now not only contacting me about artificial intelligence and nanobiology and chemtrails and frequencies and towers. People are now actually getting involved and learning how to do this stuff. I mean, I got a couple women contact me because they're having little problems with their triangle. But that's good to hear that people are actually starting to make this stuff, starting to take the initiative. I think that's great. I think that's really great. You know, I keep telling everybody I need a nap and everybody's going to take over, and now everybody is. All good. That's very encouraging when I get it from my end to hear people are actually taking the initiative to make the things, you know. Somebody today contacted me about the prostate formula, and I told him what it was. I said, go ahead and try to make it. He said, well, I'm a good old country boy. I said, well, country boy or not, go make it. That was the whole idea of showing you these videos so you can make these things, right? The first thing, be aware of what's in your environment. Be aware of what's in your environment. And I don't mean where you live. I mean everything. Where you work, who you associate with, where you sleep, where you go to a restaurant, whether you go to a movie house. Be aware of your environment. Number one. Because you don't know in those environments if there's something there by design to affect you. Is there a tower by the movie house? Is there a tower by the restaurant? Are they using a Wi-Fi band? You know, is that affecting the way you think and eat? You know, are you in an area where you got heavy exhaust? Are you dealing with solvents? You know, this is all part of your environment. You know, are you sitting under a blue beam light all day long? You know, this is all part of your environment. So once you understand that, then you can come up with a countermeasure to help treat whatever's going on inside of you because you're in that kind of environment. Okay? Just realize that the whole concept of healing is recognizing cause. And sometimes some of the causes that we're dealing with are environmental. Most of the time it's all environmental. Even internally, in your gut, remember, if you're eating genetically engineered foods, if you're eating mutagenically engineered foods, nano-saturated grains, nano-saturated cereals, nano-saturated beans and nuts and seeds, nano-sprayed crops, and you're eating these things, then what you're going to get is a more polluted environment orally or internally. We did the video on urine therapy. We talked about that a little bit. We touched on it. And I said, the gal made comment to me about in using the urine therapy. She was glad I talked about nano, because now she's filtering the urine and adding copper to it, making a copper urate. And so she's using that in her regimen. So we have, again, knowing the environment. And she knew that in her environment, in her internal environment, she would have had nano that she would have been excreting in her urine. So she filtered her urine and recycled it so she could use it. These are things we're going to have to start, like I said, thinking in a whole different paradigm. Because we're now exposed to a whole level of different nano technology that we've never been dealing with before, we've never dealt with before. And as long as everybody's working together to get answers and solutions, we'll always come up with some. And we're always bouncing ideas. There's no such thing as a bad idea. There might be some funny ideas. Like I said, I collaborate with a guy in Jersey, and sometimes we come up with funny ideas, but then we start exploring them, because even though they sound funny, sometimes they have merit, you know. No idea is a bad idea unless you don't explore it or you don't experiment to validate it. Okay? So no such thing as a bad idea. Test it, make sure it works. Test it, you might find it may lead you into a better idea. You never know. But don't, again, ever be afraid that you're going to make a mistake. You are going to make mistakes. Nothing to fear. You're going to make mistakes. End of story. You may overload yourself. You may overwhelm yourself. You may puke your guts out. You may have diarrhea for a week. You know, stuff like that does happen. Don't be alarmed. You learn from it. Move forward. You know, if you die, you'll never speak to anybody again anyway, and you know what? You'll be in a better place. Just remember that too. You'll be in a better place. Tony, I made the fan with the magnets and the copper tape, but one magnet keeps coming off even after mega glue and some tape. Any thoughts on that? Take the blade of the fan and take a little sandpaper or one of those pads that you use to wash the dishes and scuff it up a little bit. There may be a coating on the fan that may not allow the glue to hold on to it. The other thing you can do is you can put a piece of tape on there first, glue the tape on, then glue the magnet on the tape, and then, you know, seal it up. That may also help. I've done that on some of the fans too. I've had to put a piece of tape on there, glued the tape to the blade, and then glued the magnet to the tape, and then sealed it with the glue, and that seems to work fine too. So sometimes there's just something on there that just won't allow it to work. So you're gonna have to kind of tinker a little bit. You know, this way you can, you know, you'll figure it out. Tony, my daughter stepped on a rusty screw. Should I let the foot soak in peroxide only? The top of the foot has some swelling already. All right. Mega doser on vitamin C, ascorbic acid, 3 grams every 3 hours. You might want to use some enzymes as well to break down any protein or biofilm that may try to attach itself to this. And I probably would soak it in an Epsom salt with a DMSO solution to help again flush it out. Or even turpentine. But get her on the vitamin C for sure, high dose, to boost her immune system so she can fight any infection. If it went into the foot, the other thing you can do is also you can apply the salt pack around the ankles and around the foot to make sure that the poison stays where it's at or minimizes any leakage or seepage through the body. Because if it congests in one spot, it can keep it there and break it down. Always have stuff on hand. Vitamin C, iodine, copper, zinc, boron or borax, trisodium phosphate, baking soda. They should all be on hand. They should always be on hand. They can go a long way in fixing a lot of problems that you're going to deal with. And they're cheap and inexpensive, so stockpile them if you can, because you may need them. Borax, for instance, you can use even in the garden to produce the boron required for the soil. Borax is another one of those things that does actually work with calcium. So again, these are things you can take. In regard to, again, knowing your environment, if you know that the regulations that are coming down the pipe are going to start impacting your health, then you got several options at your disposal. One is learn to make the stuff yourself. Wouldn't hurt. The second thing is buy enough of it on hand where you can keep it stocked up. You know, or 3, buy the raw materials that's required to make it, and if you don't want to learn how to make it, find somebody who knows how to. Okay, because in the not that far away future, we're going to see some major changes. I said this is my speculation on this. That the carbon C60 they're selling right now is going to bring the FDA in on the health food industry. And they're going to start regulating the health food industry because people are going to break down with this stuff. They're going to look at it through an investigative process. They're going to say that this has got to be more tightly regulated, and then a lot of things that you're using today, like ascorbic acid, like iodine, like zinc, like copper, you may find hard to find. In fact, you may have to go to a black market. How long will the stockpile last in storage? Some of it will last a decade. Some of them will give you a timeline of about 2 years, but when you actually do the research on them, as long as they haven't been opened up, a lot of them will last you a lot longer than what they tell you. So they can last years. Borax, you can buy at any grocery store. I've got boxes of this stuff. It's sitting there. As long as it doesn't get wet, it'll last. I got Epsom salt stocked up on. Baking soda I stocked up on. So again, these are things you can stock up on that aren't going to be problematic. You know, trisodium phosphate, food grade or regular stuff, doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Fiona, I'm going to tell you something. When you go look at some of the charts on this stuff, and you look at the food grade and you look at the non-food grade, one of them will be 99.4% pure, the other one will be 99.5% pure. That 0.1% is doesn't make it justifiable to spend because it's whatever. They're both the same. And if you look at them, you'll see both of them are exactly the same. So it's not something I would spend, not an extra buck or two for something that's got the same thing. Before I go on, I was referring to the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. Share what you know, share what you can, help them any way you can. Donate to their cause to keep the network going and flowing. You've got Brian396.com. You got ByeByeBlueSky.com. You got GagCanada.com. You have AugmentEnforce.com. What do they all have in common? They are trying to inform you about what is healthy and how to stay healthy and how to protect yourself in some form, and or letting you know and aware that stuff is happening to us and we've been exposed. Check them out. Check out the sites. You'll find them entertaining. You'll find them educational, highly informative, and it may inspire you to come up with good ideas. That's always a good thing. Okay, on my site, you got AugmentEnforce.com. There, you can go to the catalog link, check out what's in the catalog. I do consultations. I do charge $35. So again, if you're in need, give me a shout, 519-977-5351. All righty. Wow. Getting kind of good at this. I think maybe I might have done radio before. I don't know. We are in the days of Noah. Better be prepared. Better prep. Some might think, well, the rapture's coming. Okay, that's what you think. Nice knowing you. But to the rest of us, Tony, what about UTI? Urinary tract infection? Oh, just use thyme, herb as a tea and bay leaf. Make teas to have her drink it. Or you can give her 1 drop of thyme, 1 drop of bay leaf in a coffee or tea, mix it up, have her drink it. Make sure no bread, no pasta, no rice, no corn, no cereal, no canola oil, no omega-3. Avoid all of that. You don't need to be any of the bread. It's genetic and whatnot. Okay, so again, no bread. Tony, is this recipe good for removing heavy metals? a liter of water, 1 teaspoon of ascorbic. Yep, that will do it. They're adding the sodium thiosulfate with it too for the STS for it to be in effect. So I made something similar to it last night. I just put 1 teaspoon in a liter or a quart of water, 2 quarts of water, and I could still taste the STS. But you know, it can work and help you. There you go. I think you got it. Yeah, you got it. Okay. What do I hear? Am I hearing something? So yeah, check it. Yeah, you got it. So yeah, just add the sodium thiosulfate to what you've got there. You got ascorbic acid. You use TSP, but you can use STS, Epsom salt. What you've got will pull metals out as well. You know, it'll detoxify you. So, all right, I think I got the questions. Okay. As I stated, study. Not just Google, study. Can you use any oil for deep frying? Nah, not really. Some oils can take the heat, like grapeseed oil and sunflower oil. Some oils like olive oil, no, not a good idea. 99 months, 1 food source. Oh. Okay, another caller saying that for the UTI, you can actually create a douche with the thyme and bay leaf as well to help remove it. Some people are using the vinegar and water solution with iodine. That's another way to deal with it. He wanted to use the essential oil, but I don't think you're going to go that far. So just stick with that. Those are light enough for you to and see much work. Again, you even use the thyme orally and the bay leaf orally and the iodine orally. Okay, make sure the iodine is in a tea or coffee. All right, no worries. Prepare would come. Okay, so be aware. No idea is a dumb idea. You may have some funny ideas. That's okay. The only time you got a bad idea is if you don't do anything with it. Okay, test it. See where it takes you. You know, don't allow anybody to intimidate you and call you stupid and all this other crap. Or you know, what do you know? You're not educated and all that other crap. You know, don't pay attention to that. If you got an idea, follow through. It's a good idea if you follow through. It's a bad idea if you do nothing with it. You know, like I said, I collaborate with a fellow on the East Coast there, and he's always experimenting. We're always bouncing ideas off each other. He does certain things, I do certain things, and we compare notes. And that's how you learn too. You know, no such thing as a bad idea. Like I said, sometimes they sound funny, sometimes they sound silly, but sometimes they have a lot of impact. What enzymes do you recommend? The ones I recommend are coming from K9. I forget what. Look up K-9 on the internet and type in enzymes, and that's what I recommend. Tony, did you say grapeseed oil? Yes, I did. All right, listen, we are done. Time flew. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Till then, cooperate, come up with ideas, invent things. All right, see you in a bit. Hey everybody, welcome to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com, then click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, save the planet. Anyway, I'm also published on several different sites, and you can find me at Bye Bye Blue Sky, Brian396, GAG Canada, and throughout the internet. So feel free to check out the new link. We got a new link on augmentinforce.com. For those of you who go on there to do your searches and stuff, we've got a new C60 link on there. I think you may find it highly informative. We'll talk about the link today on the show. I think it's a good link. If you haven't checked out, what I may do is I'll put it in the chat room. For those of you in the chat room, you will see the link. Give you a head start. But go to augmentinforce.com and go down into the directory of content at the bottom right side, and you will see the C60 link. There's been a lot of talk about it, a lot of hype and hyperbole. What I've done there basically is to present the other side of the coin. It was an interesting last night. Me and two other collaborators were looking at the carbon C60 images. You know, if you go on, do a Yahoo search and do a Yahoo image and do a Google image, you'll find that what I found interesting there was we saw a pentagram in the middle of the fullerene. Pentagram. So I brought this to the attention to the other two guys. Did you guys see this, or am I just seeing something here? And we went and looked at a lot of them, a lot of different images of different, carbon C60 molecules, and every one of them had a pentagram. They had a six-sided figure, and in the middle was a pentagram. So the one guy who looks at things in a little different manner, has his own way of researching and whatnot, said that the pentagram represented Venus and the six-sided represented Lucifer. So isn't that interesting? So then I kind of wondered, and I threw this out there, I wonder if this is going to cause some behavioral disruption by consuming this product. I don't know for sure. I can't say it's going to. I don't know if it will. But we found that a little bit odd that formation was in these carbon molecules. Now, whether that was, and I'm not one who believes in coincidences, nor am I one that believes in, chance. Especially when it comes to this kind of tech. So anyway, we looked at that, and then also I did a 3-hour interview for those of you who didn't get it, so I will give you the link to that. The link was initially on another YouTube site, and it got changed, so I will put it in the chat room for those of you who hadn't had a chance to look for it or haven't were able to find it. There's the link right there. It was a good 3-hour interview we did. We talked on everything you can imagine. We talked on the nano, we talked on the global issues, the governances that are going on, things that are happening. We talked about sex. Those who are interested in sex and the implications of sex, what it really implies. Our generation, those of us in the 50s and 60s, were really duped with the idea of falling in love and being in love and love, and we're going to make love and all that stuff. But there is another side to that love, that love thing. The chemistry that goes involved, the genetics that gets involved, and how it really can tether you or bind you with the wrong person if you're not careful and if you're just responding to an impulse or a chemical reaction. So we got into a good discussion, and it was really a well-done interview. Actually, I've seen it 4 or 5 times. I don't normally watch my interviews that much. I usually, once or twice, I take some notes about how I responded, so I can be more effective. But it was well done. If you haven't had a chance, the link is in the chat room. Go check it out. You can look at it. I will also put out there, Bye Bye Blue Sky has also been pretty active. She's got a new billboard going up in Saskatchewan. So I'll put that in the chat room as well, just to let you guys know that things are happening behind the scenes. There is activity. There is life, in Canada. And we are trying to propagate life and liberty in the pursuit of living. I don't know about happiness so much, but living. I was talking to somebody from the Ukraine earlier today, and she was feeling fairly depressed. And a lot of you are feeling depressed. A lot of you are feeling depressed. I'll tell you why you're feeling depressed. Some of it has to do with the planet. The planet is dying. The planet is dying and you're mourning. A lot of you are mourning what's going on the earth. You know. So when we're looking at that aspect of it, and you're feeling kind of down, looking at life and thinking, oh, what a crap hole this is, and blah, 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 that's part of it. The other part of it is frequencies. You are all being hit with some kind of blue beam technology or other Li-Fi technology. I have had targeted individuals contact me and tell me straight out, so pay attention here, because some of you know people who are going through this, and these people are being looked at like they're nuts or they're crazy or they're just self-inducing some kind of psychosis. Okay, a lot of these people are being hit with these targeted weapons and frequencies, and they're, you know, some of them are winding up paralyzed, some of them are winding up with temperatures or getting exceedingly hot and then chilling cold. Some are losing the capacity to function physically. Some are having to have voice-to-head technology in their head, and they're being told, to do weird things, or that they're no good. You're what are you? You're a piece of crap. You know, what are you? We're just gonna, you're good for nothing, and this whole game going on. Or you need to go kill that person. You need to start. You need to kill. Just kill. This is going on. Not just in the United States or Canada either. This is global. I'm getting calls from Europe. I'm getting calls from people across the planet. Some are telling me they're shaken up so bad they're sitting there and just literally gyrating and vibrating because of the frequencies they're being hit with. So the paradigm in this world has changed. We are no longer living in this sort of complex comfort, thinking that we're going to live in a country and we're going to retire and we're going to go out to pasture and die gracefully. We are dealing with some heavy duty tech today we've never had to deal with before. There we go. People are waking up across the planet. I gotta tell you, I'm impressed with the results I'm seeing. I forgot to put this link. This is the new link. So again, if you can't find it on the website, you can go here and take a look. This is the new link on the Carbon C60 before I go on. Now, if you know anybody using this crap, this hexagonal pentagram molecule, you might want to have them take a look at the other side of the coin. See, this is the problem with this health food industry today. It doesn't need to be regulated. It needs to be left alone. But the problem is, with that, this kind of thing creeps in and then starts to hijack people on a molecular level, on a DNA level. Before there was some sort of ethical and moral guideline when products were being sold 30 years ago, 35 years ago, 40 years ago. I mean, stuff was creeping in then too, but not like today. And today you got so many of these witch doctors and these medical kooks. They get involved with the health food industry. What did the guy call? Word crafters. These guys are word crafters. They manipulate words in such a way that you think you're hearing something phenomenal and fantastic and it's awesome and oh, it's inspiring and it's stimulating and it might just do the trick and oh my gosh, and then you fall for it. And then it begins. The experiment begins because now you've ingested the material they need to access your DNA. When you look at the research and you look at the reports and you look at all of that that's there, see if that corroborates with what they're saying on the product, how it's going to cause longevity. The same material that they said they gave to rats, they did the same thing with rats as well, and it caused huge duress on their digestive system, DNA obstruction. It cannot be picked up in the blood. So there's a lot of half-ass bullshit, stuff being said about this product. So again, I am just going to present this side of this to you. This is the other side of the coin, which needs to be explored as well. Not the sensational Walt Disney theatrics that NASA is putting out there. These guys are affiliated with NASA, then there is an agenda going on. And better believe there's an agenda going on. Who's going to be the most susceptible to buy this kind of stuff? Millennials. Millennials and people who are desperate. If you actually, like I said, look at this, you're going to say, how in the world was this ever released into the general population? And who released it? Who let this go? Who allowed this to be released into the general population? Was it the FDA? Was it the Ministries of Health? Was it the health protection branches? Was it the health and welfare in the United States? Who allowed this to be let go? There is a culpability and a responsibility here that somebody needs to step up and take on this, because this should not be going on. And anybody, and if you're hearing any, like I said, medical kook that's perpetrating any kind of nano, either one, they're basically ignorant beyond belief and don't have a clue to what health is really all about, and all they are is shysters putting on a medical doctorate of some kind to sell you this concept that they're doctors or scientists. Or two, they are basically hijacking you on purpose. That's it. You know, if you are seriously involved in any form of activity where it regards health, you need to look at both sides of the equation on this and then weigh out, is it worth it? Is it worth it? You know, that's the choices everybody makes when they get involved in the healing arts. There are some things that offer more risk than others, for sure. And there are some things that offer no risk. Okay, but again, you got to use what's required in order to fix whatever is going on. This is important that you understand this, okay? Most doctors who actually go by the Hippocratic Oath are going to use everything in their power to heal you without taking advantage of you, without ripping you off, without trying to ask for sexual favors, without trying to do anything in regard that requires any kind of immoral or unethical conduct. A true doctor does this, or a true practitioner, or a true physician. These are people that go out of their way to try to help you in any way, shape, or form, to do what is required to make sure that you live, survive, and can thrive. Okay? And sometimes there are some things that you have to use that can be a little bit dubious, but it's required. I'm not always against the pharmaceuticals on everything. A lot of things I am, for sure. But there are some things that I can see merit if it's combined with other things to offset the side effects of what they're trying to do. So when we're looking at stuff today, okay, here's a thing. I tried looking for a clean B vitamin complex, hard to find without junk in it. Okay, let's assess this correctly. Okay, a lot of you are having the same problem. I'm going out, I'm looking for vitamins, and they got all this, like a lady today. She's going to put this thing in her eye. And this stuff has antifreeze, propylene glycol, polyethylene glycol. Why would you put that in your eye? Why would you put that in your eye? It causes tissue damage and cellular damage. So why would you put that crap in your eye? And they don't look it up. they're so bloody, incredibly lazy. It just astounds me sometimes. You know, when you don't know what a product has in it, seriously, don't use it until you find out. Take the initiative. You know, do something good for yourself. Do some research. Look up, what is polyethylene glycol? What's it used for? What are the side effects? What are the dangers of it? So, when we're looking at some of the stuff that's in some of these things, if you can't find a clean product, that means you have to make it. You have to get the raw materials and put it together yourself, so that you have an idea what's going on. You have an idea what you're doing. You're having an idea that what's in your product is not going to cause you problems. Okay? If you can't find a clean product, then start ordering online, circumvent the middleman, take the bull by the horn, get the raw materials, and start learning how to make your own stuff. Back in the day when my parents came from Europe, you know, they didn't have money. So they had to repair stuff, and they developed skills to make what they had last longer. They then take the concept of buying something new because something's broke was not in their vocabulary. They had to fix. They didn't have the money for one thing, unless they absolutely had to buy it. Then they would, but they would fix whatever they had. That would resolve a lot of the recycling issues that we're dealing with today. That would resolve in a lot of the garbage issues that we're dealing with today. See, back in the 40s and 50s, when people lived in the United States, they didn't have a problem with garbage and waste because they weren't so wasteful. Same in Canada. Canada didn't have a garbage problem. You go to Toronto, they have no place to dump their landfill. Their landfill is filled. They're driving truckloads of garbage into the state of Michigan because they got no place to dump it. You got about 12 million people in the surrounding metro area there, and they got no place to dump their garbage. So it's being carted over to Michigan. I know that makes the Michiganians feel great. Oh, we're getting Ontario's garbage. Yay! Come on down, bring more. But that's why we're having these problems with the landfill. This concept of consumerism, we really got to put a stop on that and change the way we're thinking on this. Do you need to buy a new pair of shirts, clothes every month? You need to buy furniture, new furniture every year because you're getting tired of it. Would it not be cheaper to get it reupholstered? Have a guy come in and reupholster the furniture for you? Wouldn't that be better? I mean, if the frame is still good and everything is good about it, you're just getting tired of the way it looks, how about some reupholstery? You know, instead of buying a new car, renting a new car every 3 years, why not fix the one you got? I mean, you got a car that's old and got tired iron, and you got to replace it to do so. Look, the thing about corporocracies and corporations, they're only as powerful as the mechanism that is feeding them. If you keep on throwing money at these corporocracies, they will always wield power over you. That's simple. Cut the funds and watch they get weak. All of a sudden, they sweeten the deal. If they know you're going to need to buy a car because they got this information, they figured out when you bought your last car and you're due for a new one. So when you come up to them, they've got you. They've got you. They've got you by the short and curlies. They've got you, and now the negotiation you have is very limited. So when you go to them and on your terms, they now have to kiss your backside. See, that's how it should be. That's called power to the people or power of the people. But again, this is something that I grew up with. You got to remember, the money in your hand equates to power. And before you partake and let go of your power, you know, you might want to consider what you're letting it go for and why. You know, if you can get away from using plastic, by all means. I go more toward cash unless it's a big ticket item or I'm buying stuff from the store, and then I pay it off at the end of the month. That's how we need to be dealing with credit as well. I mean, because a lot of these things I'm telling you about is affecting your health. You're running, chasing the wind, trying to pay off a debt that's causing you stress and causing you high blood pressure and causing you insulin issues because you're not eating right, because you can't afford to buy the right food to sustain your body. You can't afford to rest correctly. So now you got, not cholesterol issues, but congestive issues going on in your system. You got high levels of inflammatory issues going on. And then someone comes along and says, I got a magical product here. I got this magic pill. Come and buy my magic pill. This magic pill is magically delicious. It's got a pentagram and a six-sided image to it. Swallow the devil, why don't you? My point is, health is all a perspective in what you do and how you live. If you can't afford to live a certain way and you can only live within a certain means, then you might want to start to reinvent the wheel, so that you can sustain yourself. We are living in times today that you cannot afford to waste money, especially with all the targeting going on, these frequencies that are hitting you. You're now going to need money to protect yourself and to create a fortress within your own home, to block frequencies, to block signals, to block, nano and nanobiology. You gotta look at even the food you're eating. You may have to, like I said, get into a grow-op concept where you grow your own. Why is everybody making Bayer Monsanto rich? We go to the grocery because it's convenient, right? We don't have time. This is where we need to maybe come up with a different way of coordinating what we're doing. People that aren't working may want to start growing gardens, indoor gardens, for people maybe in their neighborhood or in their neighbors, and create their own little mini co-op. And start supplying the neighborhood. I mean, these are things to consider. Start a greenhouse. You are dealing with technology today. They can rain down on you a hydrogel or a liposome in the rain, bringing in it it acts as an incubator till it hits the ground. Have you noticed, whenever you get a dysfunctional weather, you get a heat wave that comes in, then you get a cold wave, then you get some rain, then when the rain comes down, the roads dry up within like 15 minutes. You got a heavy rain, it's coming down, boy, it's just peeing down all over the place, and then 15 minutes later, the roads, the streets, the sidewalks are dry. And then we get another heat wave. Do you see the pattern? First, I heat up the environment, make it open to receive the chemical I'm dumping down from the sky. Then the chemicals come down from the sky, liposomes and hydrogels, carrying incubated material into the rainwater. Hits the ground, it gets absorbed almost immediately. Then things heat up again, and what happens when things heat up? Things hatch. I talked about this years ago that we were going to have a pest problem up the way because the weather was changing the way it was. And usually we have a mosquito season here where I live especially, and usually when the summer comes, the mosquitoes are out in packs. You'll have 30 of them flying in front of you, just sitting there hovering away, and you see them pull out the napkin, they put it around the neck, they got the fork and the knife, and they say, "Dinner," and you're it. know. So when we're looking at, you know, this kind of activity, this is something to pay attention to. Oh, it's hotter than blazes. Next thing you know, we get this cool front come in and it cools things down. Then we get a rain, and then we get this heat front come up again, and then all of a sudden you're all having respiratory issues, allergic reaction issues, skin issues, pain issues, mental fog issues. Do you think perhaps that's a coincidence? Do you think perhaps that's a coincidence? Just something I'm throwing out there to get you to observe. How many of you got the yellow lenses? How many went and bought some yellow glasses now and wearing them wherever you go outside, especially at nighttime, seeing the green hue around the light, or the headlights having a green hue, or your computer screen going a little bit different, lighter change in color? Or you're looking at fluorescent bulbs and CFL lights and seeing a green hue. Think perhaps, maybe, that's a frequency coming from the light. How many of you have looked at the moon with the yellow lenses? Take them off and the moon looks like it's pure white, like it's almost like a CFL. And this blue haze seems to be either coming or going to it. But put the glasses back on and it's back to yellow. I haven't seen a yellow moon since I was a kid, and that's me not wearing glasses. And I'm not smoking any cannabis or anything weird either. But try it. Take a walk on the wild side. See what you see. You may find things ain't what they appear. Remember in that movie They Live, they had those special glasses? That's what I'm looking to find next. I want to see if I can come up with something like that, or something comes my way, and I can put them on, and I can see the sign saying, indulge, obey, indulge, have sex, don't rebel, obey your government, obey, eat, consume. I seriously think that's going on with these frequencies. The blue beam. We're living in a artificial intelligent world. I wouldn't call it intelligence. I would call it an artificial malevolence in the world. This artificial malevolence is subjecting everything to its programming. Everything. The mark of the beast, I think, this is again speculation from my part, just to point out some connection here. But I think the mark of the beast is a direct connection to artificial intelligence or artificial malevolence to incorporate mankind into its program. That's what it appears to me. Now, some of you have other interpretations, some have some other kind of church thing. More power to you. But when I'm looking at this technology today and everything around it, everything that has led me down this road, everything that has, all the doors have opened to me in the research and development of this nanobiology and the synthetic biology, and it has led me down to artificial intelligence. And this isn't just the scary part. The scary part is the other computer programs that they have operating, like the Q wave and the D wave and some of these other things they got going on. When we're looking at these things as well, this has taken us into realms we should seriously be looking at dropping nanobiology, nanotechnology. We need to walk away from this technology. I was looking at something else that was on that site after the break. If we have a break, after the break, I'll go on through the site with you and point out some things. But they got some stuff in there that when you read it and you begin to understand how this technology can really override your DNA, it makes you it's very, very alarming. This technology that we have today has replaced nuclear on all fronts. All right, come on back and we'll talk about that in a bit. Hey everybody, we're back. This is The Remedy. I am your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. Again, you can access the show by going to www.microeffect.com. I'm going to read one part of the link. It's on page 18 of the, 18 on the with the transfer. But anyway, I want to read to you how dangerous this technology is. Before the break, I said you could literally replace nukes. Wasn't kidding. This makes nuclear warfare look like a firecracker. Because with this biology and this nanotechnology and nanobiology, this is so horrendously dangerous, you know, and anybody can do it. That's the thing. This puts everybody in an equal playing field. You can create these things to do whatever you want them to do, and they can be damn near invincible to shut down with this type of thing. So let me read this to you in regard to some of the things here. This is called synthetic tissues build themselves. Synthetic tissues build themselves. Biologists program cells to self-organize into 3D structures in the first step towards tissue that regrow and self-repair. Now, biology could always do this. It had the capacity to self-assemble, self-replicate, and self-repair. This is taking it to a whole different level, a whole other level that, again, makes one go, Okay. They've demonstrated the ability to program groups of individual cells to self-organize into multi-layer structures reminiscent of a simple organism of the first stages of embryonic development. They are now using the platform of the embryo to create an assembling of the biotech to create whatever they want. DNA encodes an algorithm for growing the organisms. Now this is what they've done. They've taken DNA and they've incorporated it into this nanotechnology, nanobiology, because now the DNA will direct it to do whatever it wants to do. Now, if something accesses your DNA, gets into the double helix, and it fires a frequency to send a program into your genetic code or into your DNA, it now becomes a part of you. That's how targeted individuals are getting hit with this kind of technology. This also infers something else as well. Imagine, okay, I'm going to give you a scope here, but imagine dropping this down from the sky. And then something that can integrate, has a DNA construct or a code, attaches itself to you, accesses your DNA code, and then you turn on a tower or a cell phone or an iPad or a television or a computer. It activates the program and you're gone. Cause of death, heart attack. Cause of death, diabetes. Cause of death, accelerated aging. Cause of death, cellular implosion. Cause of death, brain damage. Cause of death, cancer. Cause of death, autoimmune disorders. And the list goes on and on and on. You don't need a nuke. All you need is an airplane that can fly by and draw and spray. Notice the spraying in the sky? Notice that? Some might say it's a vivid imagination. But you know what? People have seen these things in the past and said these things and were said the same thing. Frequencies of all natures and sorts can activate this tech. So let me further read this so that you guys get the gist of what I'm talking about. So all you guys are running around here saying, I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to get my gun. You better have something more than a gun. You better have a brain, and you better understand the nature of what I'm saying here. They can spray your area, they can spray your neighborhood, they can spray your block, they can spray your community, they can spray your suburb, and this is all it would take to disengage everybody in that perimeter. That's how dangerous this stuff is. DNA encodes, now, okay, forget that. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the complexity of natural systems. So here we set out to understand the minimum set of rules for programming cells to self-assemble into multicellular structures. A critical part of development is that a biological structure form, cells communicate with one another and make coordinated collective decisions about how to structurally organize themselves. Let me repeat this so that you guys understand what is being said here. Okay? Let me repeat this so you understand what is being said here. A critical part of development is that as a biological structure form, cells communicate with one another and make coordinated collective decisions about how to structurally organize themselves. This is what they've patterned the technology with. This. To mimic this process, they relied on a powerfully customized synthetic signaling molecule called SynNotch for synthetic notch receptor to program cells to respond to specific cell-to-cell communication signals with bespoke genetic programs. Using SynNotch, the researchers engineered cells to respond to specific signals from neighboring cells by producing a Velcro-like adhesion molecules called cadherins, as well as fluorescent marker proteins. This is basically synthesizing biology. Okay, causes assembled cells to change color and self-organize into multi-layered structures akin to simple organisms or developing tissues. Two groups of cells to self-organize into one layered sphere. So when you're reading, let me pay, so I can put a comment here. Pay attention here. This is synthetic biology forming using DNA as a conductor and the SynNotch as the program and director here. The means to weaponize this is infinitive. This makes using all forms of current tech that is nuclear totally obsolete. Polarity, in other words, governing not only signals but a field to interact with other cells or other synthetic structures. This is something else further down. Okay. They even engineered cells that formed the beginnings of polarity. They distinct front, back, left, right, head, toe axis that define the body plans of many multicellular organisms. This is huge. This is huge. In order for this kind of technology to work on any level, on any life, on any form of life, you first have to load the body up with some kind of material that it can adhere to and utilize in its construct. Now, about 15, 20 years ago, there was a study done on the American population, and they said that the American population was already 50% sugar. That's carbon. Carbon. You already were 50% of a high conductive material. They love vegans. They love vegans. Vegans eat nothing but sugar, no matter how you cut it. If they're eating a green leafy vegetable, a carrot, a potato, or some fruit, that's sugar. That's all carbon. See, we are not a carbon-based life form. We never were. But they've loaded the body up with carbon. Lots of it. This technology loves carbon. It literally assembles with the use of carbon. You know, like I said, the nanobiology just loves it. It's the greatest ligand going. It's a superconductive material or semiconductive, depending on how it was constructed. No, Starfire, they don't want a Borg. They don't want the Borg. No, they want you. Why have a Borg when they can download your memories, everything in your brain, into an artificial intelligence? It can turn around and restructure your program and then insert you into another nanobiology. You won't need anything. You'll just be able to access whatever through the AI. This is all about assimilation of a planet or taking over of a planet. This is not just some kind of mad scientist or science fiction today. This is real. Why are smart dusts being sprayed in your food supply and not being removed? Why are they spraying nano silver in the food supply? Why are they putting nano silica in the food supply? Why are they pushing so hard to sell this carbon C60? Why are they pushing all this nano materials? Why are they finding nano obstructions in vaccines? I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't believe in that kind of inept or inefficiencies. This is a well orchestrated, well planned, well released program that they put in play. Well, everybody's been sitting home watching the television and being entertained by football and baseball and love of your life and some soap opera and whatever you're watching on Friends and Bugs Bunny and whatever entertainment that's going on, getting caught up in the social whatever, because they entertain you with that, this is how you're supposed to be social engineering. This has been going on and they've been developing it. This is completely incredible. The old biblical saying goes, if Christ doesn't come back, no flesh would be saved. Pretty much that's it in a nutshell. The other verse that says that when he comes back, will he find faith on earth? Could imply many things. One of them could be implied we could all be dead or assimilated. So, these are just another way of looking at things. I don't just follow the churchology. I find that the churchology is very very close-minded on a lot of things, and a lot of things are going on around churchology that the church needs to wake up on. We need to wake up and see certain things and to be prepared. I'm not a church goer by no stretch of the imagination, nor do I intend on going to any church anytime soon. But if you are a believer, you might want to take a look at what I'm showing you here. You might want to take a hard look at what I'm saying here. I'm not the only one saying it either. That's the thing. Other peoples are coming out there in different ways, in different formats, and are showing the same thing. This is incredibly dangerous what we're at now. We're at a precipice right now that we need to walk away from. We really do. We need to put pressure on these globalists to walk away from this technology, because this is incredible. This is beyond belief. The scope of it is incredible. I see this thing, and I don't get rattled too easy by too much. Gotta tell you. Takes a lot to rattle me, but this is overwhelming. This is really overwhelming. The nature of what they've done to us, how they have violated our DNA, our genetic code, sold us on this bull crap called organics when there's nothing organic about it. That's been the other big kick in the arse. They got everybody believing that the organics were going to be so much better, so much healthier, so much this, so much that. And they put so much advertising campaign and to justify how good the organics are. And then later on to find out that they were loading them up with nano particles or nanometals on the food supply, or they're spraying chemtrails, or putting smart sensors in all of them, or even spraying glyphosates. This is by far the biggest fantasy going. When you're thinking in terms of food supply, okay, you're better off eating the animals at this stage. They will at least filter it out. And somebody will get all into this, they're so abusive with the animals. They're abusing the bloody planet. This is the problem with vegans. I always say this many a time. They're stupid. Stupid beyond belief stupid. They think they're eating live food. Now, this is the other fallacy there that they've got them believing, this conception. When you pick a fruit from a vine or from a tree or from the ground, it literally dies within about a half hour to 45 minutes. The nutritional value drops by about 75%. So by the time they see it in market, it's already dead. all you're getting out of that food is, if there's any nutritional value, it's minuscule. Lots of sugar because it's carbon, and lots of contamination because of the nano spraying that they've been done from the sky and from below. So when someone's going to try to tell you that the food chain is safe, it's not safe on any level. This is why I strive so hard with those YouTubes to get you to start looking at neutrality, as neutralizing the foods you're eating so you can minimize the uptake of these components, so there's less attributes to access you. Okay, I'm always talking about the micro effect. Give them your support, give them what you can, show them that you care, ask what you can do for them, see what you can do. ByeByeBlueSky.com, Brian396.com, GagCanada.com, AugmentandForce.com. Check out the sites. Get educated. Get aware. Then start studying so you know what to do. AugmentandForce.com. I've got also a catalog link. Feel free to access that. I also do consultations. Feel free to give me a shout or send me an email. Again, the number is 519-977-5351, or the email is independs@yahoo.com. Go look at the YouTubes that we've done. We've done a lot there to help those of you with frequencies and other things to get you started so that you can start investigating for yourself the things that are going on. Okay, I gave you at the show, I've given you the links here. You can go to ByeByeBlueSky.com. New billboard in Yorktown, Saskatchewan. I'll give you the link again so that you can see it in the chat room. Hold on. You can go to the augmentandforce.com. Click on the C60 in the directory of content. Take a look at the other side. And for those of you who are where am I at here? Where'd I go? Oh, here we go. Oops. And for those of you who are in the chat room, this may help you, take you directly to the link. There you go. docswixsite.com. If I got the time, I'll see if I can get this other one in there to you. Yeah, C60 Nano Impact. That's the Wix site. So I'll give you the link there in the chat room again. So if you haven't got it, go check it out. So it'd be independs.wixsite.com/C60 Nanoscale Impact. Okay, Nanoscale Impact. You might want to take a look at this, have a real hard look at what's really going on, because we are in a new realm, whole new ball game here. We're going to be dealing with synthetic biology and synthetics and incubated materials coming out of a lab being delivered through either a hydrogel or liposome or both delivery method. That black goo thing that guy was talking about, he's so goofy, he's not even funny. You know, that's what they've been utilizing all this time. The Chinese started that back in 1956, and today it's refined. So again, these are things you need to really open your eyes to, so you can then prepare, because if you keep following the status quo that's been being perpetrated, you're going to get taken completely out. You got to start thinking in a whole new paradigm, because that's where we're at. We're in a whole new paradigm. We are in an AI malevolent world, or a Luciferian age, if you want to call it that way. We are in a Luciferian age, and the AI is running the show. So the less access to your system, the less access frequencies can get a hold of you, the freer you are. And I would also suggest, wouldn't hurt, have a one-on-one with the Great One. Can do you no harm. Might even give you some inspiration. That's just my word, my take on it. And I'm not referring to myself. One-on-one meaning with the Almighty, with God, with Christ, whatever. Okay, just so that you know. So start looking at this data. Start sharing the data. You know, it's not up to you to convert people. It's up to you to present the truth. The conversion will come on their own. If the truth shall set you free. Remember that. You don't have to convince anybody. Present them the details. Present them the facts. Get them to think. That's how you wake them up, by getting them to think. You know what I mean? That's how you wake them up. So get them to think. Start looking at this stuff. Like I said, we've been, Brian 396 and myself and other people involved have been looking at this. We've been presenting this to you. I think he's working on another page as well with the zeolite to expose that one. I'm not sure. So when he's ready to put it out there, I'll let you know. When we look at this stuff, seriously, take a hard look at it. You know, don't just get caught up with the Disney Channel theatrics. Don't get caught up with the Walt Disney wide-eyed Mickey Mouse world. Really pay attention to this. They will go all out to sell you stuff that will embed themselves. I mean, think about it. A pentagram surrounded by a six-sided molecule? Is that coincidence? I don't know. Don't think so. But that's my thinking. So, and again, I have a certain take on things as well. And when I see things like that, it makes me scratch my chin and go, You know, do we need to download any more? I did a video and I talked about the Forbidden Fruit program and how we got caught up on the Forbidden Fruit program. Do we need to download more of this is my question, you know? Think about that. Think about that. The Forbidden Fruit program. You know, that's what got us in this mess. So, think in terms of what we're doing today, where we're at, what's going on, you know, what's happening, you know, and then you'll come up with solutions. Then you'll start coming up with solutions. You know, that's probably as good as I can tell you. And start cooperating with each other. Kick around ideas. Nobody knows everything. Okay, nobody knows everything. Everybody has something to contribute. And you might come up with a real super idea. You never know. God might inspire you to come up with something great. All right. We'll see you Thursday. Till then, do some studying. All right, you take care, eh?